You know, massive infrastructure projects always come with these huge promises, right? Progress, power, prosperity. But what's the real cost? Today we're going to dive into the story of Turkey's Deriner Dam. It's an incredible piece of engineering that shows us the complex, kind of two-sided legacy of what it actually means to build the future.
So to really get a handle on the impact of the Deriner Dam, we first have to appreciate its unbelievable scale. I mean, this isn't just some wall of concrete. It's a genuine giant, one that has completely reshaped the landscape of the Chur River.
Okay, so how tall are we talking? A staggering 249 meters. That makes this double-curved arch dam the tallest in all of Turkey. It's an absolute titan of modern engineering, built specifically to tame one of the country's fastest-flowing rivers.
And to give you a sense of just how much material we're talking about, try this on for size. The 3.4 million cubic meters of concrete that went into this thing is enough to build a highway stretching clear across the entire country.
And all that concrete, it's holding back a truly colossal amount of water. The reservoir it creates is so big, it could supply a megacity like Istanbul for 2.5 years straight. And all of this massive scale, it was all designed for one big reason: to harness immense power.
All right, so you build this massive thing. What's the payoff? What do you get for an investment of this magnitude? Well, let's look at the economics. The main answer is energy, and a whole lot of it. You see, the Deriner Dam was a really key part of Turkey's plan to boost its own energy independence. By generating over 2,000 gigawatt-hours of clean, renewable energy every single year, it helps reduce the need for foreign energy and powers about 750,000 homes. That's a serious contribution to the national grid.
And all that energy, well, it translates directly into economic value. When you add up the dam's own production and how it helps other dams downstream work better, it pumps an estimated 575 million Turkish lira into the economy every single year.
Now, to put that into perspective, you might be thinking, how big of a deal is that really? Well, while it's less than 1% of the total national grid, it's a huge player in the hydroelectric world. Back in 2018, it was responsible for over 3.5% of all the hydropower made in the entire country. But hold on, the economic story doesn't just stop with electricity, not even close. Creating this massive deep reservoir actually opened the door for a brand new industry, aquaculture. And the potential here is enormous. We're talking an estimated annual revenue of over 122 million lira from fish farming alone.
And a new industry means one thing: new jobs. The plan to build out these fishing facilities is expected to create over 270 stable, permanent jobs for people in the region. That's a major economic boost, especially for a rural area.
Okay, so the economic benefits, they're pretty clear. But progress on this scale, well, it rarely comes without a cost. So now we have to turn to the other side of the story, the deep human and cultural price that was paid for this dam.
I mean, think about it. To create that giant reservoir, all that water had to go somewhere, right? The rising lake just swallowed up valuable, limited farmland, which in a mountainous region like this was the lifeblood for so many communities. This led to forced migration, lost income, and the erasure of cultural history built over centuries.
This quote just cuts right to the heart of the matter. For a lot of families, their land, their homes, it was all taken. And yeah, they were paid compensation, but for many, it just wasn't enough to restart their lives nearby. It left them with little choice but to pack up and move to larger cities far away from their ancestral homes.
And we're not just talking about individual farms here and there. We're talking about entire communities, gone. The villages of Kolburlu, Zeytinlik, and Oruçlu. With all their history, their social fabric, they now lie at the bottom of the Deriner Reservoir. They were literally wiped off the map.
And along with those villages, priceless cultural heritage was lost. Now, authorities did try to move some historical structures, but it just wasn't always possible. An ancient arch bridge, a historic plane tree, a tomb, they were among the treasures that couldn't be saved and were just swallowed by the rising water. But you know, that's not where the story ends, because even with all that loss, people are resilient. The transformation of a landscape, as disruptive as it was, also forced a new reality to emerge. The region and its people, they started to adapt, forging a new future from the changed world around them. So what did that look like? Well, as the traditional farming life along the river literally vanished underwater, people had to adapt. Many moved to higher ground and took up beekeeping. Others turned to the new reservoir itself and started fishing.
A whole new economy, based on a completely new landscape, began to take shape.
And the dam project itself became a huge source of jobs for the local community. During the really intense construction phase, it employed over 3,000 people. And get this, a staggering 85% of them were hired locally. And that commitment continues today, with local people making up almost all of the permanent operation staff.
The new lake also created this absolutely stunning landscape, with huge potential for things like tourism and recreation. Boating, hiking, sightseeing. In fact, studies have rated its potential as high. The catch, though, is that challenges with infrastructure and access mean that this economic opportunity hasn't really been fully tapped into yet.
So, when you take a step back and you put all these pieces together, the economic wins, the social costs, the adaptation, the Deriner Dam becomes something more than just a power plant. It becomes this powerful symbol of a really fundamental dilemma.
This is the trade-off laid bare. It's really that simple. On one side, you've got these tangible benefits: clean energy, less foreign dependence, new industries, jobs. But on the other side, you have these immeasurable losses: homes, farms, communities, history, all just sitting at the bottom of a lake.
So the story of the Deriner Dam, it doesn't really give us any easy answers. It's a perfect case study in the complex, often painful, math of progress. And it leaves us with what is maybe the most important question we can ask as we continue to shape our world. What parts of our past are we willing to sacrifice for our future?